That was anticlimactic, David. There you
We've been gone too long. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be on this big, beautiful planet we call home. And welcome back to Drinks and Daves after a 2-week hiatus where some of us were in conference and some of us were dipping our feet in the Icelandic Ocean. How are you, David?
Hey, Dave. How's it going? Yeah, it was much too long. I see we only had 2 viewers. You don't know we're playing music. We can't take any weeks off.
That's
The,
right,
the
we can't.
people need us.
We can't. So, how's it feel to be back? Well, we had 4, and bathroom break, obviously. How was the trip? I mean, well, we can talk about that when we get more people. But how's it feel to be back? You know, it's always terrible when you come back to work because you always have crap. And well, I'll tell you what, our lounge is packed tonight. It is packed with people. Hello, Tig Lily, welcome.
One comment. See, here they come. It's all right.
We got 5 people, so please say hello. Tell us what you're drinking. Tell us what. Well, don't tell us what you're wearing. That may, no.
You don't want to know I've got pants on. Apparently, that's all right. That's our yeah. So what are you here? I'm drinking. It's called the Six Isles.
Okay.
I don't know. It's one of those cheap ones. I don't know about you, but I've been drinking pretty good stuff on the show.
Yes.
But outside of the show, I tend to
drink the rot gut.
No. When I have a cigar, sometimes I think I just want something that's peaty, but not $100 a bottle, because you're not going to get all the flavors when you're having a cigar, right? So
okay, fair enough.
So I've got this. So this is a blend, and it's supposed to be from the Six Isles. So you've heard of Islay, right? You've heard of Jura, I assume.
Yes.
Skye, that's a lesser known, but they've got Scotch. And then there's Mull. Have you heard of the island
Mull? I have not heard of.
I haven't either, but apparently there's at least one distillery there that sends their stuff to this place.
Well, you know what it could be. There was some guy standing on Islay and goes, "Laddie, there is a dirt. Let's call that a mole because it looks like a mole in Scotland." Okay, that was terrible.
Very, very likely. And then Orkney, and then Arran. And
Arran.
I know that you have 2 shave soaps from Arran.
Absolutely.
But you're not a fan or have not experimented with their Scotch.
No, I have not.
Yeah.
Hello, Jaro. Nice to see you, Jimmy.
So anyway, that's what I'm. Can you see? It's low, and I'm trying to. I realized again for the 50th time I've got too many bottles, so I'm trying to empty out one of them.
Well,
to make myself
that's
feel
good.
better.
Yeah, I'm teetotaling tonight. I am drinking coffee.
What happened?
I don't know. I just felt like it, and I'm actually enjoying. But and the reason being, with coffee, I want to really, really, really enjoy the cigar. And this cigar is an Arturo Fuente Opus X Lost City.
All right. Was that over or under $40 for that cigar?
Which way are you looking at it, from the top down or from the bottom up?
I don't want to look at anything of yours from the bottom up.
Somewhere north of 60.
All right. So you're a guy that you can have a cigar, and you're either talking out your ass or you can pick out flavors. Because sometimes when you get a new cigar, you'll post your own notes, right? I either like it or I don't. And that's about as far as I can. I can tell, oh, this one's too peppery or not. But that's one thing. It's interesting. Wine, scotches, I can get in the minutia, but.
Well, I think it's just, the thing is, the first thing, the way that, and I'll just say this as a little hint. Tim from Cigars Daily, the way he likes to suggest getting the tasting notes is the first thing you do before you even, obviously before you even light the cigar, once you cut it, then
so I haven't lit mine yet. So
yeah, take a dry and kind of try to pick out what you get. Now, a lot of times you may get barnyard, you may get dirt, you may get anything like that. So what that does is that kind of sets your palate up for when you actually light the cigar. And obviously you pre-toast it. I know what you do, but holding the smoke in your mouth a little bit like the way you do with wine. And then when you blow it out, and I know you don't like doing this, but the retrohale is really where you will pick out the notes. But you don't want to retrohale the whole thing. Just a very little bit at the end, because if you retrohale the whole thing, basically your nose falls off. But that's
I get it. Yeah, I know I tried it when you first started talking about that. So anybody that doesn't, retrohale means you blow some of the smoke up your nose, basically.
No, no, out your nose, not up. No, you don't inhale it. You go down. Here, I'll show you.
Right, but it comes out your nose.
Yeah.
Right.
But not up your nose, down your nose. Well, I guess if you're laying down, I guess it goes up. Well, okay, if you think, all right, fine. If you're thinking from
in relation to your mouth.
Exactly. So, yes, it goes up through the nasal cavity and then curves and, it goes down.
Right, we need to do a whole cigar episode sometime later, but whether or not people believe it or not, you do not inhale a cigar into your lungs. Because for most people, if you were to do that, you would cough for 10 minutes straight. It's so acidic, right?
Well, the thing is, and not only that, I mean, I've seen people that do, hello, Jimmy, that do inhale cigars, and personally, I think they're dead.
I already posted that one, dude. You got to.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, okay, well, let's get back to. So you were drinking that. Now I'm drinking coffee. However, a traveler that was on vacation not too long ago, and we won't mention any names, but the initials are Dave, brought me this. This is called Floki. Well, but the thing is, I tried it last night, and I've got about a quarter of the bottle left, but I tried it last night, and it's basically Icelandic single malt whiskey. And Floki, I assume, is named for Floki from the Vikings, the series it was on. But when you smell it, it's driving me nuts because I can't. I made a joke on the forum that it basically was dirty ice, lava, volcanic rock, and a hiking boot. But then when you taste it, it's basically like I was going to say salted cod and a sweaty Viking cod piece, but I don't think that would be fair. But what's funny, though, is I actually like it. So it took a while to get used to. Not that I like Viking cod pieces. Let's not go down there.
Those Viking cod
and of course, I knew Panteo was going to laugh at that one. But no, it's very good, and I love the bottle because it's from Iceland. So and in fact, I didn't even read the back of it. It says, "You are welcome to visit our distillery. Book your visit at flokywhiskey.is, product of Iceland, and it's brewed and aged in Imerk Distillery in." Yeah, somewhere in Iceland. It starts with a G, with local barley. So I'll be willing to bet that smell that I'm getting from this is probably the barley with some C notes in it, maybe. It does remind me of a Scottish island type Scotch, but it's not. And what I love about it is it's very, very clear. I mean, it's like I said, when I first smelled it, I was like, "Ooh, this one's going to be Russ. What did I do to piss Dave off?" But then after tasting it, and I'll tell you what, it goes down really smooth. The one thing I do like is it does go down really smooth. It doesn't have that harsh thing.
Interesting.
And stuff like that. And then also we have a new co-host, and then once again, this was given to me by a friend, and this is Gunther. This is Gunther. So, in the future, if you say something weird, Gunther will come and say, "Look at my finger." So, anyhow, that's
so.
Gunther,
Pete's got me sad because he's been Scotch every episode until this one, and now he's off Tennessee. He's in the backwoods with us.
Well, I think the reason why PB is doing this is because he watched my video today, and it was all about Chicago and Prohibition. So he wanted to get some state whiskeys and stuff like that, and Al Capone.
Oh man, that makes me think of the movies The Untouchables.
You'll have to see the video because that's kind of what I was going for. Except for some reason I have an Errol Flynn mustache on. Don't ask me how that ended up that way.
All right. So I've got the Oliva G.
Okay.
And I smoked one of these yesterday. So you were mentioning Cigars Daily.
Mm-hmm.
He had just done an episode based on cutting cigars, which I was thinking, how could you talk for 25 minutes on cutting cigars?
But
He
did it.
did, and it was interesting, and I learned something, which you just tried today.
Mm-hmm.
But so this is a box press, but the end of it is kind of torpedo shape. Yeah, and
Yes.
he showed you how to use a V cutter on a torpedo ended cigar,
Mm-hmm.
which I had no clue you could do.
Either did I, and I actually really like it because the flow through is really really nice on it.
See, I liked it until the very, when you're enjoying your cigar and you want that last just until it burns your fingers. The cut goes in far enough and it shoots the smoke right up to your palate that
Mm-hmm.
it was too hot and it burned. What is this? Jaro's got some knowledge. He's dropping the knowledge.
He's got some knowledge base going on here.
Or
So
Google Foo.
868, a Viking ship sailed from Norway searching for a fabled island in the North Atlantic. See, their courageous leader was Floki, called Floki, because the 3 ravens carried with him. Well, what's funny is that those ravens led him to an island named Iceland where he became the first known settler. Well, what's funny is that actually follows the show, The Vikings, because I know they were trying to make that. If you've never seen the Vikings, it's a really cool show. And Floki was a shipbuilder in the show, and then he went to Iceland, and then they canceled the show or something. But
Here, mudslide. I haven't had a mudslide since I was 20 something. I'm pretty sure. But those are delicious and probably 400 calories.
well,
Wait,
yeah,
but this one's coffee with a kick. I thought a mudslide.
yeah. I
I
think
guess it's not ice cream.
wait a minute, Dreamweaver. I think it is. Oh, wait a minute. What do we got going on here? So Jimmy Smith, I have a great humidor. Got no. Oh, see, I didn't read that part. All I saw was Bamboo for You saying, "Jimmy Smith, give it to me," and I was going to say, "Ooh, we're getting a risque show going on." But I think a mudslide is Bailey's,
Yeah.
Kahlua, and is it vodka?
Well, see, but they got
No,
say
that's a
coffee
white. That's
with
a that's a.
kick.
Well, I
A
think the vodka
mudslide
would be the
doesn't have
kick.
coffee in it, does it?
Shall we? Okay,
I
can
mean,
somebody do the Google foo?
Google that one, Jaro.
Google that one, Jaro. What is a mudslide? And meaning the drink mudslide, because we've all seen mudslides.
Yeah. What is
Kioki
it?
coffee is with a kick, I thought. Dave, I'll let you take that
I don't
one.
know what Kioki coffee is.
Just go over your shoulder and ask.
Which Oh man, what I we were long I'll skip all the where we were, but we were getting free Irish coffees made at breakfast with actual cream and stuff. Oh boy, you could go through a mess of those things. Those are good.
Oh yeah. So, our Google foo person, Jimmy, vodka, coffee liquor, coffee liqueur, excuse me, Irish cream, heavy cream, or vanilla ice cream. Oof, yeah, that's
So
that's
the coffee liqueur. All right.
yeah. Oh wait, we have. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, same thing. So anyhow, brandy, Kahlua, and cream de cacao. Ooh, that sounds really good, actually.
There's no coffee in that at all, unless it's coffee with that.
Well, the thing is, coffee.
At that point, huh?
Yeah, coffee's a placeholder. coffee's the ingredient. Just say, no, I'm not a drunk. I have coffee.
Oh, that's right. It's like vodka in the morning's okay if there's a splash of orange juice in it. Then all of a sudden you're fine.
But see, the way to do that is say, well, I clean my jewelry in vodka because it is the closest thing to. It's pure. So that's what you can, take a shot, dump your watch in it. Take a shot, dump your watch in it. See?
Keep your watch out of my vodka.
Well, it gives it a little wang to it. Now we'll see if somebody gets the movie reference to that when I say it has a little bit of a wang to it. Tastes good though. See if anybody can get that.
We should do
reference.
A breakfast episode. Oh, we should. We should do a breakfast episode. We can have
Dave cooking in the kitchen,
eggs and
English muffin,
breakfast cocktails.
Ooh, that would be good. That's mimosas. There we go. We could do the Drinks and Dave's mimosa show.
Well,
You almost
except
inhaled, didn't
we
you?
need the keto version. We need the diabetic version of mimosa, so you can't have the orange juice.
Well, no. You know what you can do? You can have the Virgil's orange soda.
You're gonna do orange soda and champagne?
Yeah, it tastes
That's
like
classy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's like drinking Thunderbird wine and 7 Up. It's the kind of the same type of thing. Yeah.
Eggs
Does
and
Nurse Dave drink Harvey Wallbangers for breakfast?
I don't drink in the morning. You know what? That's funny because I've got two philosophies. One is like, who cares what time of the day you drink, right? It's just
It's
a
always
time, right?
Well, it's 5 o'clock
5
somewhere.
o'clock somewhere. But then when I was really getting into scotch and work was super stressful in the middle of COVID, I hit that period where like I came home and I like wanted a drink to like chill out, and I
Hmm.
100% didn't want to, do that. Like the scotch was for the taste and the experience and the hobby, and
Hmm.
I didn't want it to treat like stress. And
Right.
so I would wait until like, okay, it's now 5 o'clock or whatever, just
Hmm.
because then there's a limit. But other than that, like you said, you can have a mimosa, you can have a screwdriver, so you can drink alcohol as long as it's foo before 5, and you're okay.
Well,
Right?
I think that's where I think back in the ad, like Mad Men days, the ads in the '60s,
Mm.
women would have scotch and milk, and that would be considered an okay cocktail to have during the
Are you
day.
serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. Dead serious.
Scotch and milk.
Scotch and milk. It actually is not that bad. I tried it. I mean,
Like
granted, it was
50-50?
well, yeah, it was 4:30 in the morning, but I did try it. I mean,
Well, you probably weren't the best judge of
well,
anything at
well,
that
that's
point.
true. Well, but, speaking of when we're talking about different times of drinking, somehow on my Facebook feed today, something came out that says you should quit drinking now. And so the video starts out that says if you drink more than X, Y, Z per day, you are either always drunk or always hungover. And I'm thinking, get the eek out of here. You're so full of crap. I mean, it's just, give me a break. Yes, Galliano is available, and it's disgusting.
What is that?
It's to me, it tastes like licorice.
Oh. Yeah, licorice is big in like Iceland and
Hmm.
Scandinavia. Maybe I don't know why. Maybe because they're used to the lava rocks and just
And
harsh,
the
cold, bitter.
and the Viking cod pieces, obviously, you know, more than that.
Oh, and we didn't mention this is a box press, which is tactilely enjoyable for some reason, and I know you feel the same way.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's an odd thing, is that you press it into a box shape, and it's just
Well, it seems
it
like
feels
I
good in
mean,
the hand.
it seems like the flavor profile of a box press, like these right here, that I think you've seen these. These are the ones I just got. The 2012 Candela Maduro or Candela San Andreas wrapper barber pole. And
Yeah,
these are amazing. And what's funny is they're very grassy in the beginning. In fact, what I thought of is remember St. Charles Shave, a
yeah.
Fairway? It's like smoking that soap. I mean, but without the soap. It's just delicious. But
Can you do this, Dave? What would a Viking shave be?
a Viking shave? Well,
Well, you need air and soap.
yeah, but well, not really much of one at all. It just here, done.
Oh, they don't. Trick question.
So now that we have, man, I can't believe the barflies today. We're gonna have to hire another bartender, Dave, because with as many people as we have in the lounge tonight,
What happened
it's
to somebody needs to wake up Rich? This is the
yeah, I
first show
noticed
he's
that.
missed.
Yeah, unless he's here and he's just quietly
Oh,
he's quietly waiting because
waiting his
because
moment.
we've got to get Rich here because the thing is we have his natural you
Yeah.
know.
What are you doing
So
there, Dave?
anyway, so we've got most of our folks here now. We're going to probably have to, like I said, we're going to have to hire another bartender for the lounge because we're just getting just jam packed. I mean, granted, the lounge is only 1 foot by 1 foot, but still, you know. Milk punch. Yeah, whiskey and milk. That just seemed like that would curdle.
You would think.
Well, there was a drink back in the day. I think they called it a brain, and I think it was what's the cherry liqueur? You took Bailey's. What was it? Bailey's, vodka, and then you actually poured over a spoon. You poured the cherry stuff over the top, and when it hit the Bailey's, it would start to. I guess it could be called curdling, and it would make like a brain. It would look like a brain in the middle of a shot glass.
That smells delicious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, we have covered all the cigar stuff. So tell us about your vacation.
Yeah, we had a great time. And for those of you that don't follow on the cadre or don't watch my shave videos, shame on you. But we did a cruise. That's where your Iceland stuff came from. We flew into London, stayed there for a couple of days, and then cruised out and hit France and then Iceland, 2 different stops, and then Norway, and ended in Denmark.
Wow.
And it was amazing through and through. The stops were amazing. We had enough sea days where you were relaxed and forgot what day it was and could just chill out and just saw so many different things. And other than plane flights there and back, which are hell no matter what you do, it was super cool. Yeah.
Well, now give some of our viewers a thing, because I know that you guys cruise a lot. I'm hearing God, but you're very and you have educated me on this, because I would have never thought to even think about going on a Disney cruise. And here's what I mean by that. I'm a Disney fanatic. I love Disney, but when I think of Disney, I think of kids, and I think of let me say the word, the plethora, another movie reference, a plethora, let's see who gets it, of kids running around with Mickey hats on and just running around crazy. I mean, because obviously when you first start cruising, as we talked prior to the show, you end up doing the big cruise lines and you have thousands and thousands of people with a bunch of kids. But you really told me, and maybe you can explain that the Disney Cruise Line is actually a class line. And what I mean by that is it's very refined, very nice. And the kids, it seems like the kids have their own experiences.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, there's just 3 main lines, right? Celebrity. No. What's the C one I'm thinking of? Carnival, Norwegian, and
Princess. I guess you could probably throw Princess in that too.
So you got all those lines that are pretty similar. And when we bring up Disney, people think, well, it's just like those, except Disney's trying to, screw you and make you pay a lot of money. The difference, though, is that it is a different level of service and cleanliness and all this stuff. And some of the differences are there's no casino on board.
Thank God.
And so they take all of that space and dedicate it to the kids. Right, so the bars are a little bit small. There's no drinking package, so that's some of the nice things. You don't have the people that are there to get in their 12 drinks a day because they prepaid for them. So you don't have the drunk folks at the pool, and the kids they've got 4 or 5 different kids clubs.
Hold that thought. We had Rich come in.
Thank you. Hi, Rich. Wait, he's popping in and out because he's watching a musical.
Oh, I know what he's watching. I know what he's watching. It came out last Thursday for those people that are Star Trek fans. Strange New Worlds is the prequel to the original series. So you have Captain Pike and Number 1 and Spock, and they actually did a musical version for the last episode, and it was absolutely phenomenal because it was literally a Broadway picture Star Trek, but with Broadway type singing. It was
Yeah,
actually
but
really good.
do you approve of Rich putting that above our show?
Negative,
No,
negative, negative.
Rich. Priorities. So
Yeah,
anyway,
he can tape that.
right. So they've got a nursery that you've got to pay by the hour, but if you come in with a little toddler that's not potty trained, a little 6-month-old, you can put them in the nursery. They've got basically grade school uh, uh, kids club. They've got middle school. They've got on up to high school. So they each have their own space.
Oh, so they don't kind of intermingle the.
No, in fact, they won't allow. Like if you're a high school kid, they won't let you go down to the middle school.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Now, so I would imagine as a parent, because I know that you've got various ages of kids. I know they're getting older, but I would imagine that you can feel really comfortable leaving them to their own devices as far as that goes.
100. You can choose to let them check themselves in and out or not, so they can't leave without you saying it's okay.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's an app that you use in your phone when you're on the ship that something happens, they need to get in touch with you. They can message you through the app, all that kind of stuff. So the opposite of that is their adult areas. So this is the cool part. So the first time my wife and I went on a Disney cruise together with just the two of us. And it was awesome because they have whole areas of the ship that are either adults only all the time or adults only in the evening. So like all the lounges at night are adults only. During the day they can have like trivia for families and things like that, but then they switch over. But they have pools and the coffee shop and some bar areas that are adults only all the
really?
time.
Oh, so they have a lot of times they'll have multiple pools on the ship.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so there's a family pool and there's an adult pool on every ship.
See, that's pretty, and you would think, and I've only seen a limited number of the advertisements for Disney Cruise Lines because obviously I know their bread and butter is families. I get that, but you would think that they would get a little bit more, and maybe they do. That I just didn't know because you don't see that on their advertising. I didn't recognize it until you had mentioned that cruise, and I went on to Disney's website, and I was literally flabbergasted. I really was. I was like, wow, this is Seabourn Regent level type stuff, and it was really, really cool. And we can get into the cost basis and stuff like that, but when you look overall at what you get, the initial price seems a lot, but then when you start factoring all the other things, to me it's extremely reasonable, and
yeah, it depends. We talked about sharing a few pictures, so I'm going to bring up one of the first, in fact, the first cruise that my wife and I went on because I took a lot of pictures,
right?
Just because it was so new. So let me click on this one. Look, I learned how to do this.
Okay.
So this is going to be amazing. I'm going to present and I'm going to share my screen.
Wow, that is such So a lot of it looks like a cigar bar. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at this.
Oh, what happened? Oh,
there we go. Yeah. Oh, now which ship is this?
So, this is the Fantasy.
Okay.
And everything you're seeing here is adult area. Both of those little pools and both levels of deck and all this. So no kids are allowed. They might be able to walk through, but they can't hang out here.
Okay.
So, of course, around the family area and like the buffet and stuff like that. But even like on Norwegian or whatever, you're going to have kids running around, right? So this is one of the few lines where you can just get away from everybody.
Well, that's kind of cool. Oh, and I guess you can just see down. I was going to say, if you clicked on that arrow, that right arrow, I think it would have brought up the next picture in your slideshow.
Right. Well, that's what I'm going through. I just wanted to show you the adult stuff. I didn't want
Now, which ship was that?
Fantasy.
So that's one of their older ones, right?
Yeah. But you should see, that's one of the other amazing things. I mean, so I try not to be, quote, elitist or whatever. I got to watch how I talk. But I really feel like, we talk about experiences, right? Where you'd rather have the experience of a $10 cigar than a $2 one. Or when we shave, it's all about, a nice scent and a nice this and a nice that. So same kind of thing, with this, that okay, here, let's see if we can. So this is, all right. I'm not doing a very good
It's all right.
production job.
That's right. Actually, no, it's good because when you do that, everybody's leaning into their screen, waiting for the
captivate. Well, let me show you. So one of the things, we'll just jump all over the damn place. How about that?
Yeah. Well, what else is new?
One of the things Disney does that nobody else does is fireworks at sea.
That's cool.
So if you are in the Caribbean, they do Pirates of the Caribbean on the ship. So they
now
do.
Can you dress up? Can you dress up for Pirate Night?
People do. People like these are obviously the actors on the stage, but the people to the left there, you will see guests dressed up to that extent for Pirate Night.
That's kind of cool, actually.
They bring this stuff. So there's off the side of the ship in the Caribbean.
Wow.
Right? So,
and is it a full on production?
Oh yeah, music and so that's it. You have the show. They've got the pirate there doing the battle and all the stuff, and then all of a sudden the lights drop in the ship, and the music starts up, and then they do. Yeah, so I decided here I'm gonna whiz through all of our family stuff.
No, but that's kind of cool though.
But right, so you've got
those are your kids. Oh my God! How long ago was this? Yeah. I was gonna say
years and years. So if you've got kids that are into the and you asked about their private island, so this is their private island, and everybody that's on the ship, the workers get off and cook at the barbecue on the island, and you got a barbecue buffet there on the island, and it's weird. Maybe I'm just trying to think of where I put all the adult.
So you can do as much with the kids as you want, or you can let them, which I would imagine for the kids probably feels kind of cool because they can say, "Hey, I want to go to my place. You and Mom go away."
Sometimes it just depends on the kids. But so I mentioned when I got back here, one of the things that I really missed was I would wake up and walk up to the adult coffee bar and get a latte and take it and get into the hot tub. That's the adult only hot tub, and drink my latte overlooking the ocean. And then the service, bar none.
So let me ask you.
They put towels right next to the hot tub for you. None of this check out 2 towels, and if you don't return them, you get out, you dry yourself off. They've got blankets waiting for you because it's chilly outside. You grab a blanket, you lay down, and you're just watching the ocean. In other
words, it brings back kind of what I guess you could argue that Victorian well, not using the word Titanic, let's use a different ship, but that level of service. And I would assume that when you're drinking the coffee, the pinky is stuck out while you're enjoying that. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
See, now I would imagine though on this cruise, because obviously you and I had discussed this cruise, and I know that a certain individual we know probably would not want to do that cruise because it never, once it gets below 80 degrees, she freezes up. Okay, so it is White Star Titanic-like. See, now to me, that's the draw for me, is that retro feeling of literally, for lack of a better term, that aristocracy of saying, "Hey, we're on this ship and we're enjoying it." Because we've done the Carnival, Celebrity, and then Celebrity was probably the highest end one that we've done so far, and it was nice because it was mostly adults. But it sounds like it's a totally different level, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And what Pontea was saying about, no rust spots and things like that, I guess that's what I was thinking of when I was trying to find pictures, is the experiences that the decks, I think they've changed them, but the original ships were actually teak. Right, so walking with your socks and shoes off felt amazing.
Sure.
The deck chairs are wood. When you pull up to see a Carnival ship. They've kind of got those lounge chairs with those big straps of plastic on them.
Right.
You look at a ship across from you in port, and they've got the little rust things coming down from the rivets and stuff like that. A Disney ship, as soon as we're pulled up somewhere, the guys are off the ship painting just
Really?
They paint all the time.
Wow. So what that reminds me of is when I was in the Air Force, when you have a demonstration squadron, whether it be the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds, you could eat off of probably every flying surface on those planes because it represents the highest end. And I would have guessed, let's face it, those of us that like Disney, like you go to Disneyland and you start reading some of the things about behind the scenes, and you'll never find a piece of trash laying anywhere in Disneyland,
Well, in fact, I was amazed that, I'm an early riser. And so that's amazing on these ships because people are on vacation. They like to sleep in. So you get the ship to yourself. And I was up early and I was seeing them reinstall some of the wood handrails of the stairs because they had taken them off to revarnish them overnight and reinstall them in the morning.
Wow.
I mean, every ship, that's why when you say, oh, it's an older ship, right? I'm kind of like, yeah but you would never know it. So here, this is one of the smaller ships, but I'm going to share this just because I finally found a few places that are the adult area stuff. And this is one of my favorite lounges. But check this out. This is the Cadillac Lounge.
Wow.
And so you can see the lights are like the tail lights of a Cadillac, and the chairs have kind of the fins on them.
You know what before you leave on that picture, what it reminds me of is if you've ever seen the movie The Shining and the bar, that bar that they were talking in, or the bar on that, what was that movie with oh God, what's her name? Where it was a starship and they were going out 100 years and they were in the bar talking, and it looks a lot like this, very futuristic but retro at the same time.
I don't remember.
Now, is that a restaurant or is that just a lounge?
That's just a lounge. Wow. So look at those lights on the wall. Isn't that amazing?
That's pretty cool. And so are these themed towards like Disney movies? Like, would that be Cars, I guess?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So here's another lounge that's like
I like the backgammon. I like the backgammon.
Yeah, look at this thing. They'll play sports on the TVs, and they've got all sorts of beer on tap. And so, this... Here's another lounge where they got a piano. This is all one ship, so.
Wow. You can address this too as you're going through that. Pantea just put up the theming of all the ships is amazing. Each ship has an art of the theme tour. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, so that's a tour where, so some of the stuff I'm showing you where like they themed this one bar based on whatever. So here, let me go back. So this is one of the adult only restaurants. So the ship
that's Remy, right?
This is Palo.
Oh, okay.
So the smaller ships have one adult only restaurant. The bigger ships have two. Super high end. And when you talk expense, there's just like a $50 charge, 75. I'm like minimal, right, for the type of food you get. Here, but this wow. This is based on Venice, right? So if you look at the ceiling, you can see it's a little wavy here. So this is the canal in Venice. It's meant to replicate the water there. These are actual masks from Venice that they decorate with. And then these little knobs here are like the knobs on the poles that go along.
Yeah, the mast poles, right? Yeah, the tie-up poles, right?
Right. So it's stuff like that they'll go through and discuss about all the little details. It's not meant to look pretty. That a lot of it, there's reasons behind the decorations that you might not realize till it's pointed out.
Well, and I know the answer to this, but for our viewers, so obviously Disney owns Star Wars now. And so I assume that is there theming on the ships chain? Is it an ever evolving thing based on the products that Disney has or owns?
Somewhat. So in some of the kids clubs, they have the Millennium Falcon, like kind of, I don't know, toy. You can go in and mess with the controls and stuff like that. And my wife just told me they recently ended them, but they used to have Star Wars Days at Sea. So some of the cruises, instead of like Pirate Night and stuff, they would have stormtroopers and Darth Vader and all that stuff.
Okay.
But now they're doing Pixar.
Well, I would imagine they probably changed away from Star Wars because they have to pay for their galactic experience that they have at Walt Disney World.
Jeez, what a waste that was.
Because I think it was what, $10,000 for a 3-day stay or some crazy amount.
Insane. Yeah, but what's the new one? Oh, so the new ship has a whole restaurant based on Frozen, Arendelle, right? So all the pictures down the hallway to the restaurant are Arendelle, and then you've got actors singing the songs while you eat. And
that's good. Well, let me ask you a question based on, like talking about Disney, because one of my favorite rides at Disneyland is the haunted house. And I know that when you're going through the queue and you're going, the pictures actually change as you go by. Do they have stuff like that? Like video framed walls?
No, they don't. I'm trying to think of, so the video walls in each ship, there's a restaurant called Animator's Palette, and they do two things in there. One is, Crush the Turtle.
Mm-hmm.
They do the Crush show where he'll come up on the screens around the thing and talk to people live time, right?
That's
so they'll
cool.
actually say, "Hey, little dude in the blue shirt." And
so they've got somebody watching and doing the Crush righteous.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the other thing they do that's super cool is that you'll get a placemat with kind of like an outline of a person, and you have to fill in what their head looks like and their arms and legs and all this stuff as soon as you sit down. Then they take all these sheets away, and halfway through the meal on all these screens all the way around the thing, and it's Disney, so it's not just showing you this. It's like They've got this intro music, and they're showing clips from their own productions, like how it goes from a pencil sketch to an ink thing that gets colored in and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they've got a show where they've scanned in your images somehow and made them start moving. And so all the little figures that people have drawn will be like marching across the screen and doing a dance and all this stuff. So,
that's pretty cool.
Disney does Disney, right?
Well, and that's to me, that's the draw of it for me is the fact that, Disney, it sounds like a cliche, but Disney, for those of us of a certain age, was that magical place we went to. And basically this sounds almost like it's Disneyland at sea, for lack of a better term.
It's not the rides, but it's the experience.
Right.
And so you hear that from a lot of people once they do it. If you have experienced the Disney rides, they'd much rather keep doing the cruises because it's relaxing. You're in the parks and your feet are sore and you feel like you got to go all day and you're exhausted and all that stuff. And this is the opposite of that.
Yeah, because if you get too tired, you just find a nice lounge chair and out you go. Because to me, when you showed that one picture of that water coaster, I'd spend, you could just drop me off there and come pick me up for dinner. Because, well, a quick story, when Sharon and I went to Disneyland, I don't know how it happened, but Space Mountain had just reopened or something to that effect. And we literally got off Space Mountain, walked back around, and there was nobody on it. So we rode Space Mountain like 6 times. It was great.
Wow.
It was wonderful.
I can't do the rides, man.
Really?
I used to be able to do all the spinny stuff and all that stuff, and then in high school I started getting motion sick, and that's it.
But being on the water doesn't bother you.
No, and
I know they don't move. Cruise ships don't move hardly at all.
Not much. I mean, and you get used to it. And so I get that patch that goes behind your ear. But most of the time I don't even use that.
Now, I would imagine Disney's the same way. Like if you're later in the evening, you come back to your stateroom and you turn on the TV, you can kind of watch navigationally where the ship's going. Do they do that? Yeah.
Okay, there's one channel that shows the front of the ship all the time. And then another one that's like for nerds like us, right? That shows the stats. It shows how fast the ship's going and the wind direction and the wind speed and the water temperature. And then it shows the map zooming in and out and all that.
P. Beat brought up a really good question real quick that says, what would Walt would have thought of all this. And I know there's somebody that's watching in our lounge right now that would say, well, Walt's never gone. They just turned him into AI. But
so he loved traditional cruising is the thing. And so that's, you can say whatever. They did it for the money or this or that, but that's why they based the designs on their first 4 ships on the traditional cruise ship, that they wanted to stay true to what the traditional ocean liners look like, down to like they've got 2 smokestacks on every ship, but they only need one of them. The other one's just for looks, to keep that traditional ocean liner look. So.
Well, let's change gears a little bit. So, with all those things that you talk about the cruises, logic would dictate that, okay, their primary bread and butter is the Caribbean style cruises where it's warm and people can frolic, blah, blah, blah. But based on the cruise you went on and some of the things that you've told me off camera, is that they pretty much cruise almost everywhere a lot of the major lines cruise. So for this trip that you guys just went on, would you think that the age of the kids was probably a little older because of where you were going, or no?
Maybe a little fewer kids. It tends to be time of year, though.
Okay.
That in the summertime you're going to get the kids, and then if you do the longer cruises during the school year, you'll get fewer kids.
Because now, are they limited? Because I know some cruise lines like Viking, I've got a client from the shop that this is they fly from Long Beach or from LA to Hawaii. They do all the Hawaiian Islands, then they go down and they do the South Pacific, including Guam, Fiji, Tahiti. Then they go all the way across to South America, and then they come back up the coast and they end in San Diego, and it's 39 days.
Dude.
That just...
So you can't take any kids on that?
No.
Yeah.
Well, plus, basically for a 39-day cruise, you basically might as well mortgage your house, because the Viking, it's expensive. I mean, it was just shy of 70 grand per, so, or for 2 people. But, when you're retired and you're thinking, you know what, my kids have good jobs, I'm going to spend their inheritance.
And the stuff you would see.
Oh, yeah. So on this cruise, so as you said, there was fewer kids. Is that because of the type of, because I would imagine most of the areas that you stopped at and you went and did, whether it be, because I know you showed that one picture when you guys were in the Icelandic, that pool, that I would imagine that it was more, is it more adult themed on those cruises, you think, or it just depends?
What do you mean? The cruise itself is themed the same way, either way. The excursions probably are more, you don't have zip lines and paragliding and all that kind of stuff. It's more historical and educational and all that stuff. So here, let's see. I can show you some of the excursions that we went on.
And while you're pulling that up, one thing I must say is when you were in London, you did me a big solid, and you also went to Flores and bought that Islay. We can get into a whole nother thing, I think that's Flores's most wonderful flavor ever.
Yeah. So here's France. So our first stop was France.
Okay.
And it's just kind of tooling through the town, this little tiny French town, and then we took a bus to 2 just oceanside fishing villages, basically, and just got a history of the town and history of the buildings.
Oh, wow.
And then so that was one stop.
That's beautiful. Wow. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Wow.
Look at this floor.
Jeez.
And then this was our first
hey, real quick, can you go back to that last picture? One more. You know how many people are buried there? All of them. Sorry, it was a dad joke that my dad used to say a long time ago. So answer this for PB real quick. So
Yeah.
I guess the Ritz-Carlton yachts carry less than 500. One of their boats is 298. How many passengers were on the Disney cruise you were on?
There you go. Pontea said it, about 3,000.
Okay, but you didn't. Did it feel like there was 3,000 people?
Never.
Okay.
Never. See, that's the thing. And so, talking about cruising in general, I'm not going to talk anybody into going that doesn't want to. But the two things I hear is I don't want to feel like I'm stuck on this tiny little ship, right? Like you'll feel claustrophobic. And you've seen like they've got, 4 lounges and 3 levels of adult only area and inside and outside and your own room and all this stuff. And
Did
it's
you
like,
did you catch a cat on top of that, or is that a gargoyle?
no, it's a gargoyle.
Oh, okay.
Hey, and remember I was mentioning that we learned about what are they, cat traps? Oh, I'm gonna spend all my time going back and forth. This thing on the top of the roof, I've never seen this, but it's so the cat can get in and out to chase the rodents out of the top of the
Really?
building. Yeah.
Guess I'm gonna have to hire an architect.
Interesting, huh?
That's beautiful. See, I like things that are cultural. Now go back to that one. Is that just like, is that the when everybody just get, is that when, oh, just another show?
My favorite thing on a cruise ship is the live music. And so I got lucky. We've been on a cruise, Disney cruise before with these two guys, and they were on this one again. And,
Sorry.
and so this is it. That's my favorite thing to do, is sit and just listen to live musicians. So this is their atrium, and it's just
Wow.
around like dinner time in the evening, and people are hanging out. And
See, that has a real Titanic, like if you
Yeah.
remember the opening scene of the Titanic when they showed the big foyer, or I guess I should say foyer if I'm going to be bougie.
And look,
That is-
here's the coffee place. You can get your cold brew that they make,
Jeez.
dripping throughout the day.
And I'm sure they have croissants.
Yeah, free croissants. And here's your water slide that goes around the whole top of the ship. So this is the family pool.
Now, which
area.
ship is this again? This is the Dream?
This is the Dream. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And so here's another view of their atrium. So they're not as big and grander. So I mentioned to you before that one of the entertainments was they got an Icelandic violin player who was actually world famous, and so she was on the ship in one of the.
So do they like board the ship for the show and then disembark, or are they there for the whole?
Depends.
Okay.
Depends. So those two guys that I like were there for the whole show. She got on. She lived in Iceland, so she got on in England, and then just got off when we ported at her home.
In Reykjavik. Did you guys stopped in Reykjavik, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Now, how many? Now, I know that some ports that you go into are too small to moor up to. So, do they have tenders, or do they pretty much?
They do, but none of the places we stopped we had to tender.
Oh,
You
okay.
just walk right off the ship. Yeah. So this was actually Reykjavik. We got to walk around.
P-Beat's got a question for you, Dave.
Yeah. When I disembarked. Oh. So I'll tell them the story. Is so I packed a lot less shaving soap than I thought I was going to need. And in fact, I ended up with just a sample for the whole trip. And so when we were in London, I thought, well, I better get some soap, because I was hoping I would run across drugstores. The answer to this, no, I didn't. When we were going port to port, we didn't hit anywhere that was like a drugstore. Didn't see any to shop at. But when we were in London, we went to a drugstore there so I could find some shave soap. And
Look at that. Wow.
I ended up finding Wilkinson Sword shave soap in a bowl for $3.50. So I thought, all right, I'm going to give this stuff a try. And because we were in London and at a hotel and I had Wi-Fi, I posted about that. And one of the cadre members mentioned something like good luck with that, or there's a reason it's $3.50. There I am repping Drinks and Dave's in Reykjavik. And so because of his comment, I was afraid to try it on the ship with an open blade razor moving around, and so I didn't. I tried it when I got back.
But since you've used it, and it's pretty good.
It's not terrible. No. So here's the Blue Lagoon. That's kind of a world famous place. And
that's the one I was talking about. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Now, was Brooke Shields there by chance?
Not this time. Not
bad movie
Look,
reference.
I got my facial done.
A certain individual is not going to be happy you showed that picture, by the way. Just
that's right.
thought I'd let you know.
There's me, and so here's something. So so here I'm geeking out on this stuff. So you'll forget. I won't talk about Disney cruising the rest of our shows. But here's something else that's cool. Where can you get a picture with Mickey in his Norwegian gear?
That's pretty cool.
They still have the mermaids and stuff. Here's a violinist, a different violinist that was on there for the whole ship that my daughter just loves. So got a picture with him.
Is that your ship? Was that your ship?
That's our ship. Yeah, that's our second stop in Iceland.
Now, can you hear it? If you hear right when you're showing that picture, if you hear it just lightly, you can hear this rustling, and that's Sharon shivering.
It was cold. We were wearing coats inside.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh God, look at that. Wow.
Yeah. And so Iceland is however you get there, I would say this is one place that I would suggest everybody goes once, just because of the geology of this place.
Go back one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see Dave pronounce that word.
Nope. I don't even know what some of those letters are. God. But see all those holes? That's these things that are like bubbles. Like the whole place is volcanic, right?
Sure. Now they still have a lot of active volcanoes, don't they?
They had one that was active while we were there. We didn't get to see it. But I mean, the whole place is lava rock.
Wow.
And then we went to this place that's kind of like Yellowstone, where they've got the bubbling mud pits and all that stuff. So very cool.
So it had that stark beauty. Yeah. Now, where did you guys disembark in Stockholm?
Copenhagen.
No, Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll start. I won't go through everything. We have.
Well, no, I mean, because we, obviously, everybody's been kind of tapping their watch, going, "Geez, when are Drinks and Dave's coming back?" I mean, I just want to let everybody know I wanted to do the show because those of us that were wallowing away in 115-degree heat, but my partner over here said absolutely not. We have to wait. Not. So. Oh, so see, Tig Lily asked if there's hot springs. So in other words, basically that would be drop me off here. I'll wait until you guys come back.
So somebody asked about the smoking. Let me say that was my one frustration. So one thing I learned this trip is that they have two places where they sell cigars on the ship.
They actually sell them, really?
Oh yeah. And in fact, what's the company? It's a very trendy brand right now.
Acid?
Not Acid. Newer than them.
Newer than Acid?
My father, it's not something like that. Anyway, they have I thought they're special cigars, but it's just special packaging for the Disney Cruise Line. It's like a set of 5 cigars.
Please tell me you got that.
No, I didn't get it. Because I don't like them. I don't like the...
Yeah, but it's a Disney collector's item.
So I wanted to at least smoke one cigar, right? I didn't bring any with me, so I knew they sold them on board. But it was cold and windy and all that stuff. And so the last sea day, it was warmer, and I thought, okay, this is the day to do it. And I said, okay, you guys have cigars here, so I assume you have a cutter and like matches or something. And they said, we've got a cutter. We're not allowed to have matches because of fire risk.
Yeah.
And I said, well, okay, so how do I light this thing? He said, well, you got to go to the smoking area and just bum a lighter off of somebody. And I'm like, I'm not going to go out with a $20 cigar and wait around and hope. So lesson learned. I should have bought a lighter in London.
You got a light. Come on, give me a light. Give me a light.
So answer B. Pete's question. Tell him what happened.
Okay, so... as PB knows, Fragrant Floris, I am a huge fanboy of Floris, always have been. And years ago, there was 150, a limited edition of 150, and it was Eiley. And what it was, and Dave, you'll have to help me here because I don't have the insert, but they contracted with a Scotch distillery in Scotland, and they created Eiley as a tribute to those. And I had wanted it, but by the time I clicked on it, those 150 were gone. So come forward all this time, and Dave posts a picture of the Eiley, but it was handwritten, which at the time he said this to me, I was like, well, yeah, no, not really. And then, of course, the Central Enablement Center brain started clicking on, and I said, oh, man, is that the one? And sure enough, it was. And so I begged, prodded, and whined for him to go back to Flores, and he did do that for me. Thank you, Penteo, for allowing him to do that. And then I got it just a couple of days ago, and I have to say it's probably if you like Scotch and you like peat and you like that smell, but not bad, it is and it's an eau de parfum, so it lasts for hours, and it's just fantastic. But yeah, you could go broke in Flores in a big hurry.
Yeah,
Really.
That's a bummer. It's not cheap, and you go through smelling, you're like, oh, I like that one. I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then did they offer when you were at Flores? I know that they offer this in advance, where you can go in and spend, I think it's like 6 to 7 hours or something like that, where you go in and they sit down with a perfumer and you actually get a bespoke fragrance made by Flores right then and there.
They didn't ask, but I read about those experiences.
Yeah,
and they have two.
Okay.
You know about the two? So one is what you're talking about, where you go in, and I think they've got certain bases that you start with, and then you can tweak them or whatever, and you end up with your own custom bottle. The other one is over many days, and I think it's starting from scratch, and then you go back and forth and all this stuff, much more expensive. And
P Beats throwing down some action here.
Do they have soap? I didn't even see.
Yes, they have two.
There.
They have two soaps. They have the Elite and they have the 89. Those are the two soaps they currently have.
Oh yeah, $40.
But I don't. Well, I'm trying to think what I pay for it, but if you get it in the wooden bowl, but they're both wonderful soaps.
Well, so here's let me tell you about London and shaving. Is the last time we went to London, I did do the whole, they've got Jermyn Street where you've got Taylor of Old Bond Street. Help me out, Dave. Who's the other big one?
You got D.R. Harris on Jermaine Street. You have Penhaligons on St. James Street. Yeah, there's a bunch of different.
3 or 4 of the big name London shave soap folks are all on this one street. So I did stop in all of them, and that's where I got Taylor of Old Bond Street, Jermyn Street. That's one of my top 10 favorite scents, Jermyn Street by them. But I'll tell you that the thing that's frustrating is, when we're shopping online, usually you're going to a reseller shop, right, where they carry 50 brands. If you go to Taylor of Old Bond Street, all you can smell is Taylor of Old Bond Street. Like there are 8 or 10 different scents or whatever.
Right.
And it was kind of it was cool to see it. It's cool to go in there, but it's kind of a letdown that, okay, I smelled these 8. Now I got to go to some other shop to, find theirs and all. Anyway.
Hey, Enabled Shaver, how are you?
There you go.
It's that's the problem. You go to these, and they're specialty shops, and and what's funny is most of these shops that are, whether it be on St. James Street, Germain Street, or anywhere in that area, most of these were barber shops. Most of these guys were barbers back in Yorkshire, like Penhaligon, for instance, and he moved to that place. But the problem is to me the feeling of the fact that they were British-owned companies have all gone by the wayside. Most of them are owned,
really?
Like Penhaligon. Yeah, Penhaligons is owned by a Spanish company now. So they've all changed and moved on and stuff like that. But it sounds like that cruise was just tremendous. I mean, a little bit different than what you guys do on Disney normally.
Yeah.
Because normally you stick around the warmer areas, correct?
Yeah, I mean, usually just because it's so
easier.
hard to get over there, we do the Caribbean. Most
Now, do
often.
they do any Pacific-based cruises?
Yeah. We've done
Okay.
Mexico a couple times. They'll do Alaska. They're brand new. They're going to Australia, taking
Wow.
one of the ships there. So some people are doing that and hitting up like Tahiti and Bora Bora on the way down. And
Is that because it looked like and I didn't go through all of them, but their longest cruises are around 16 days, something like that.
yeah, those are the crossing cruises and all that. Let me tell you something about I thought I had told my wife this, but I got about being in London and Penhaligon's and stuff is the first time we went there, we went to Harrods because I thought maybe they would carry a bunch of shaving stuff. No, but I found there at their time their men's section was down on the bottom floor in a corner underneath still steps down like in this dark. It was weird, but they had Penhaligons, and that was my first time in person smelling Penhaligons, and I didn't know how the tops came off of the thing. And in this dark back corner room, Penhaligons was in the back corner of that, right? So nobody could see what I was doing. I popped the glass ball off the top of the Penhaligons bottle because I couldn't open. I didn't know what to lift up. So we left Harrods with a broken Penhaligons bottle. Luckily, nobody saw me.
But see, those are the type of stories that you will absolutely never forget. And then when you have really good friends, they'll never, ever let you live it down. But, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But, the thing is, I hope that I hope everybody wasn't too bored that we were talking about the cruising and stuff like that. But to me, it's educational because, like I said, I thought until you and I talked that, the Disney would be like, just screaming with kids all over the place. Yeah. But looking at those pictures, that's high class. I mean, it's really, really cool. And it's got
which
that
is
retro
funny
feel.
because I see the ships that have the rock climbing and the go-karts and all that crap, and I think kids running and screaming all over the damn place.
Okay, so obviously Rich has been in and out, but what that references to, for those of you that are not Star Trek people, if you watch Galactic Rhapsody, I think was the name of the episode, at the very end, you will see Klingons that are singing and rapping. It is the best part of the entire episode. So, if you get a chance, it's on Paramount Plus every Thursday night. Wow, I sound like a Paramount Plus announcer. Yes, watch Strange New Worlds on Thursday nights.
That's my gripe is that how many people subscribe to Paramount Plus? It's got to be fewer than all the other biggies, though, right?
I don't know. I think it's changing. I think it's changing because we've dropped almost everything. I mean, we still have Apple Plus because of For All Mankind, which we don't know when's going to get started again. But we find that Apple Plus, like for instance, oh God, we just watched the movie. God, don't get old because your brain just,
here's how many people subscribe to Paramount.
Yeah, and she's talking about me probably. No, the show, the Transformers, Rise of the Beasts.
What the hell?
Oh, it's a great movie, and it just came out of the theaters. I mean, like immediately, and it's already on Paramount Plus. So Paramount Plus, who owns CBS, so anything on there, you can see all the old series. It's pretty good. And so Enabled Shaver is asking us, who is our favorite Star Trek captain, and why is it Picard? Boy, nothing like steering the audience there, bud.
Right.
Mine's going to be Kirk.
Picard.
Mine's going to always be Kirk. It will always be Kirk.
Really?
Yeah,
is it because he slept with all the green ladies, or because he had a speech impediment, or what are his wonderful characteristics?
There was nothing wrong with the way he spoke during Star Trek. And then of course, and I know that Picard is the favorite of a certain individual because he makes it so, and he drinks Earl Grey tea hot. That's
plus
Picard.
He's got a sexy bald head.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
So I'm gonna keep. This is my episode, dude. So I'm gonna keep plugging it. So the other cool thing about Disney, right, is they own a crap load of movies. So not only can you stream them all in your room for free,
like 101 Dalmatians, 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, I'll watch that for 14 days straight.
There you go. When they release a new Disney movie, where's the first place they released that Disney movie? It ain't the movie theaters. It's on the cruise ship at midnight. You can
Really?
go watch the brand new whatever they're releasing in the States. First place you see it, they download a digital copy. I guess at midnight they get a key to unlock it, and they're showing that thing in their theaters. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I don't care about most of them, but it's kind of a cool thing you can brag about.
Yeah, but I
I'm
guarantee
trying to think
you.
of what it was.
I guarantee you.
Mansion.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, and those of you that do not know Dave, take this to the bank. In the morning when he got up at 5:36 in the morning and he went up to the adult spa and he had his coffee and everything else, he was singing something from Frozen. You know he was.
Okay. All right. I love the music from Frozen, dude.
I knew you did.
And so one of the coolest experiences is I told you the new ship has a Frozen restaurant. And when the entire restaurant is singing Let It Go together, oh, yeah.
See, the thing is, people would think I would be crazy, and for a certain age, because I'd be walking through going, you got to bare necessities. I mean, that's one of my The Jungle Book is one of my favorite movies of all time. So you can watch some of the older ones too, then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I did mention this. We had Beauty, and maybe I mentioned it before the show actually. That they've got production shows, and again, it's Disney, so stuff is top notch. And it's very cool. We got invited to a quote behind the scenes thing for their production of Beauty and the Beast. And so the people who do the lights and move all the stuff in and out and all that came and talked about their jobs. And then they ran through one scene with the audio from the lighting cue guy and showing on screens throughout the theater cameras from below showing, the lifts and all that stuff the actors came up. Anyway, very cool.
So I would assume that, like Disney, the employees on the Disney cruise lines probably have to, because I read some behind the scenes thing, that there is a pretty serious employee handbook when it comes to how the employees, both the Disney, in other words, have to act in front of their clients. And one of the ones that I saw was that you can never say, like if you go up to somebody on the ship, or let's say in Disneyland, and you ask them a question, they are not allowed to say they don't know. They have to actually go and find the answer for you, which, from a customer service standpoint, that's pretty cool. And I also understand that because a lot of people have asked, why don't the Disney characters talk? And I guess that's part of it. They cannot talk. And that's, and that's kind of neat. I think it gives the...
well, because Mickey can't sound different from one person to another. And
so one of these days we'll have to ask Rich when we have him on the show, Waffle Butt.
Yeah, he needs to share some pictures.
No. Well, that sounds, it sounds like... Man, I just think that it's really changed my attitude to what Disney cruising would be all about. It really does. And like I said, after looking the pricing on what I saw, the prices are very reasonable. And and when you do that in comparison to, let's say, and you and I talked about this before the show with Formula One moving into Las Vegas. Vegas is going to slowly but surely price itself out of the standard Joe, I think.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think that for that brief moment I wanted to go to Formula One with my dad. The hotels on the Strip we'd normally stay at were, like $1,500 a night or something. Circus, I think, was at least $500 a night.
Which is a dump. Yeah, it's a dump. It's... Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I think it'll be cool to watch on TV, them flying down the Strip at 200 miles an hour. But, that it's like gas prices. Remember when we were paying $1.25 a gallon? Now we're paying $4 a gallon. We'll never see $1.25 again. Yeah. And I think what you'll see in Vegas is the same type of thing. You're never going to see the prices.
What you're saying is we need to start a Patreon for us to go Drinks and Days in
F1
Racing 2025. Right?
Somehow, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Maybe.
It
depends on. It
Poor
depends
Dave
on.
can't make it to F1 racing.
Yeah, put up a sign. um, but yeah, so it's great. Well, real quick, because we're running at a $1:20 right now, time wise. Make sure that you tell everybody that next week we're going to have one of our greatest people in. We're going to have Spider from the Cadre, and there is a whole bunch of things we could talk about. But this man is a pepperhead of all pepperheads. He creates his own salsas, and he's a retired Air Force major. But that's all I'll say, because when you see him, you're never in a billion years going to think that. And he has got a very eclectic bunch of hobbies, notwithstanding his huge shaving hobby. So he's gonna be on our show next week.
That's funny you mentioned that, because they're obviously going to hear some of his hobbies when we talk to him. But we joke about how many hobbies you and I have.
I don't have that many. But I don't know what you're talking about.
Put your wife on. But he has several, but almost none of them overlap. He doesn't have. If you run down the list of hobbies guys have, you won't run across most of what he does.
Actually, that's true. I'm trying to think. If we compare our hobbies to his hobbies, there's one that's a common denominator. One.
The shaving.
Yeah, the shaving. Yeah. That's it. Other than that, they are, well, as we'll talk next week, there are some way out there ones, but that are cool. He's very interesting guy, so make sure you guys join us next week for that. And then we've got a couple other guests that we're working on right now, and we'll make more of an announcement next week on that, because one of them will possibly change our normal Monday night show to a different night or day and stuff like that. Plus, Dave had a great idea about having a breakfast show, so that's in the works. But do us a favor, folks.
Gosh, I'm so smart.
Yeah, okay. But do me a favor, folks that are in the lounge. Make sure you tell your friends. I mean, how we get bigger and better is with subscriptions. Now, as you know right now, and Dave just put it up there, as you know right now, the show is broadcast on my channel, Barber Dave Shaves and Such, and on Dave's channel, Nurse Dave Shaving World. But once we get to 100 subscribers, we can specifically stream from our Drinks and Dave's channel. So please tell your friends, have them subscribe. We'd certainly appreciate it, because the more subscribers we get, the more shows that we can kind of branch out with, and then we can start doing polls and
plus the whole
like
F1 thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, but there's another thing we could do. Send, Drinks and Dave's Shaving World Live throughout the world. So send us somewhere, and we will be more than happy.
Right. So it's for you guys.
Yeah, but I can see, what they're going to go. We're going to be all excited, and they're going to say, okay, and they're all going to give us a Patreon, and they're all going to give us thanks and super chat. Oh, and that's another thing. Once we get on our own channel, we can start doing super chats, which is huge. Super chat, super stickers. So if you help us out, you'll get your own super sticker type thing that you can use, and you get exploded on the screen. But what's going to happen? I think we'll run a contest. Where are we sending Drinks and Dave's? And we're going to open up, and it's going to be Ottumwa, Iowa,
Topeka,
or Toledo. Toledo, to see the Mud Hens. See right there. I like what PB.
My favorite.
Exactly.
Right.
Bora Bora.
If you send us to Bora Bora, we will give a special shout out to BP. How about that?
But what he's not telling us is we're going to be on the leeward side of the island, broadcasting from a palm tree, which is okay.
I thought Bora Bora, Idaho, or something. Probably.
Yeah, send us to Madrid. Oh, Madrid. Yeah, it's Madrid, Madrid, New Mexico. So anyways, well, what else you got, Dave? Anything else?
No, I'm good. My butt's starting to hurt, Dave.
That's probably stuff that people probably didn't remember. Outside. We are trying. Well, here's outside. What I say to your butt hurting. But so first and foremost, we want to thank Dave. You'll have to read the chat because I'm getting ready for the closing thing. There's a comment.
Yeah, oh, it's there. He's shooting his mouth off about where we need to go.
Paris, Texas. But anyhow, first and foremost, we'd like to thank all the Barflies. Don't forget that you can get your very own Drinks and Dave's t-shirt on my channel, Barber Dave's Shaves and such. And Dave's wearing one today. I was out doing errands, so I had to be dressed somewhat.
Excuse me? I'm sorry.
I had to be refined today.
What, you live in such a bougie neighborhood you can't wear a t-shirt?
Yeah, I share it with tarantulas, javelina, and coyotes. So, but as I was saying, and there's a lot more comments, Dave, you got to get with it. Come on, I can't see them before we leave. See, they don't want us to leave. They love us so much. They love us so much, they don't want us to leave. So, anyways, first of all, we want to thank everybody for being with us. We actually had a good audience in the lounge tonight. And don't forget, next week, KJ, a.k.a. Spider, on the Cadre will be our very, very special guest. And so, again, I want to thank everybody for being with us tonight. And say goodnight, Dave.
Night, Dave.
All right. You guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week. Take care.